I'll call to order this joint session of the North Andover Select Board and the North Andover Housing Authority for Monday, September 23rd, 2024. Are we okay to dispense with the Pledge of Allegiance and let's kind of get right into it for time's sake? Okay. I believe we have our two candidates who are here tonight. We're going to take Mr. Bagney first and then Mr. Manzi second. Mr. Manzi, would ask if you wouldn't mind taking a seat in the town manager's office while we conduct our interview with Mr. Bagney, and we'll call you back in as soon as we're done. Thank you so much. So I think what we'll do is to make sure we keep moving things forward on time. Each member will have the opportunity to ask a question. You don't have to ask a question if you don't wish. And I think it's okay with the chair of the Housing Authority. I suggest we alternate, Select Board, Housing Authority.
Absolutely.
And kind of go through it that way, if that works.
Want, Mr. Chair.
Okay, terrific. Mr. Bagney, you're in attendance. If you mind taking a seat.
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
I have kind of a, I don't know, statement, hello, who I am. Would that be okay to give you, and then you can question me?
If there's no objections, yeah.
Sure. Cool. Great. Hi, everybody. I'm Adam Bagney. I live at 92 Colonial Avenue. I've lived in town for 4 years, so I only have 26 more years to go until I'm officially a town resident, according to some folks in town. Obviously here to express my interest in the open commissioner seat on the Housing Authority. The real reason I'm here today, though, is because I consider myself a community-oriented person. I'm here with absolutely no agenda whatsoever, besides the fact that I want to give back to the town. In addition, I've developed a recent interest in housing and housing-related policies, and I think I have the leadership and critical thinking skills that would make me well-suited for this type of role. Before I get into that more specifically, just a little bit of my background so you know who I am. I'm a Massachusetts native. I grew up in Taunton, about 70 minutes south of here, southeastern Mass. Received an undergraduate degree in communication from LaSalle University in Philadelphia. I then spent 13 years as a news journalist in positions spanning 4 states, including here in Boston at channels 7 and 5. During the pandemic, I transitioned professionally to corporate communications in the healthcare industry, and I've spent almost 4 years now as a director of communications and previously community relations for a nonprofit healthcare system that's the largest private employer here in the state. My wife Liz and I as I mentioned, we moved to North Andover in 2020. We have 2 sons, 7 and 2. And I like to think for people that have only been here 4 years, we're very involved in the community. I'm in my, this will be my 2nd year now on the Community Preservation Committee. I've already coached probably too many seasons of youth soccer, baseball, and basketball. And I anticipate hopefully being a member of the baseball board this upcoming season. My wife is also vice president of the Franklin School PTO and a new member of the festival committee. And if that wasn't enough, I'm here before you today, and I'm also currently pursuing my master's degree in public administration and affairs from Merrimack College, which I should have completed 2 years ago, but I have 2 kids and all those things I just mentioned, and a full-time job. But during my studies a year ago, I completed a presentation regarding zoning regulations in Massachusetts, as I said in my letter, if you got a chance to look at it. And that really sort of piqued my interest in the subject of housing policy. And that interest is, for those of you that attended town meeting, kind of what inspired me to talk about in favor of the town's proposal related to the Communities Act. And obviously, we're talking about housing here today. But as I said in my letter expressing interest, I'm keenly aware we're in a housing crisis here in Massachusetts. I think it's critical to have dedicated members on local housing authority boards who are strong advocates for low and moderate income families. And I'd pledge to the town that I'd work to ensure its broader interests while also advocating for those families. I do, and I say that by also saying this. I am not expecting to set the world on fire here. I certainly understand the board's role is more of a fiduciary one, overseeing the housing authority's operations, their finances, management, and leadership. I can tell you that in my current role, I've had experience managing multi-million-dollar budgets, being directly responsible for that. I have experience leading large teams of people, over 30 employees that have worked under me, and that I've had that happen in a highly matrixed organization, in a highly regulated industry, and in times of great stress, if anyone's heard of COVID. That's for sure. And I have experience working with members of the community and a wide variety of stakeholders to get things accomplished. And of course, finally, I have a deep background in communications, which really allows me to navigate interpersonal situations and conflicts very well. In addition to often creating complex messaging, taking complex messaging and making that digestible, easily digestible content, I often guide our senior executives through times of crisis and advise them on how to communicate both internally and externally. After many years of public life, you kind of get a good handle on how people perceive information. So that's a bit of my professional background, just so you know who I am. And just to conclude by saying, I am by no means any sort of expert in the Housing Authority, managing properties. This board as a whole, quite the opposite. I certainly acknowledge that. I have a lot to learn, no question. But I think I have a lot of those fundamental attributes that the town is looking for in its board leaders. I think I'm someone new, someone interested. I think there's value in that. But I think I have that honesty, that dedication to the community, and that commitment to make decisions that are educated, thoughtful, and considerate. And I pledge I would do that to the best of my ability. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll turn it over to questions. Vice Chair Phillips, would you go first?
So you sort of answered this in the in your statement, but specifically, what characteristics do you think you will bring to the committee? Like you said, it's really more administrative than anything. No, it's not.
It's not a committee, it's a commission.
Commission, sorry. That's
And we're not part of the town.
Right. So what would you bring to the commission? So.
I think, as I said, kind of just a perspective of someone in the community who's interested in what's best for the community and the people that benefit from the Housing Authority. I think there's a lot of, I've already learned it in the CPC. I think decisions that I'll always make will be thoughtful. I think they will be considerate of all different opinions. And I think that, I have experience leading a lot of people, navigating through folks that are in conflict. And I have the town's best interests at heart, and the folks that benefit from the great work that the Housing Authority does. So I'll be there to learn to start, as I said, no question. But my goal is to be a good teammate and to be a good representative of the town and the people that need this help.
Madam Chair, I'll turn it over to one of your members. Or you?
It's going to play off. But specifically, I would ask, what past professional or personal experience or volunteer experience that you've had, do you think that could actually benefit the Housing Authority?
Well, I think, so first of all, what I do professionally now is I advise our executives in my current role in some of their most difficult times of crisis. So when things really go wrong, when we have a message that we don't know how to get that through, it's funny, especially working for a healthcare organization. Sometimes I'm in a room like this, and I'm with a whole bunch of smart people. Sometimes some of the smartest people in the world at what they do, and I am the least smart person, I feel like, in the room. But a lot of those folks don't necessarily know how to navigate the conversation. And that's what I think I can bring when we're having those sorts of conversations. You're going to know a lot more about, and members of your team that are already on the board, I think, are going to know a lot more about some of the ins and outs. But I think I'll know a lot. One thing I can bring is how to ask the right questions. Mm-hmm. And particularly when you spend many years as an investigative reporter, you have the tendency to ask those questions, those probing questions that dig those things out. So again, I'm not coming in to, as I said before, to sort of set the world on fire. But I think I'll come with the right attitude as someone that's going to contribute. And in times of struggle, in times of success, I think I'll ask the right questions, I hope.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Laura?
So it kind of plays off that as well.
They all play off each other. All versions of the same question.
So I guess my question is, have you served on a volunteer committee, which you have with CPC? Is there anything else? And what are your conflict resolution strategies?
Sure. So in addition, I mentioned, I think I'm about to be on the baseball board, which is a good thing. Community Preservation Committee, I've been on, I'm on the second year now. One thing I didn't mention is when I started, I was also a director of community relations. So that involved, for the hospital I worked for, that involved going out in the community, that involved engaging with a wide variety of stakeholders. That could be police, that could be nonprofit organizations, that could be individuals, that could be donors, and folks from all walks of life. So I think that's something in addition, someone that's worked with a wide variety of stakeholders and can understand, see through a variety of different opinions and where folks are going. Your question about conflict resolution, what was it? How do I navigate that?
What are your strategies?
What are my strategies? Run. No. In all seriousness, no. I think it starts with. It's a good question. Conflict resolution. I think it starts with being transparent. And being open. In my many years as a reporter, one thing I realized is that even someone who seems a little out there, even someone that might seem sort of really mad and dysregulated, might have some semblance of a point, right? It doesn't mean that we should do exactly what they want to do, but they might have a semblance of a point. So I think you go in with an open mind. I think you hear what they have to say, and then when you make a decision, especially if the decision is not what they want it to be, you're very transparent about, listen, I heard this, I heard that, here's what I came up with, and this is why, and this is my decision. So I think I keep going back to thoughtful, but thoughtful, transparent, open-minded, and do what I honestly feel is best at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Tracy, one of your board members?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks.
All I need to know is if you were appointed, would you be able and willing to make our monthly meetings?
I would be, not only would I be able and willing, I would be there 100%. I wouldn't be here if I didn't want to be there. I have a babysitter. I got a babysitter today, so I could be here. So that tells you, I'm already in the hole, and we haven't even started. You know?
Right. So you've given it that kind of thought, that you would make these meetings.
I-
because that's what we need.
I wouldn't be, not only have I given it a lot of thought, and I'm not here to kind of brown nose you all, but I'm really impressed with the people in town that take positions that are volunteer positions, that are unpaid, and that still are sometimes brutally criticized.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And that's all of you, honestly, that's all of you here. And I really appreciate people that do that. Apparently, I am a glutton for punishment, like you all are. No, but you do important work, and, you know, I want to contribute.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks.
it. Yeah.
Rosemary?
Hi, thank you for coming and thank you for volunteering to be considered for this position. So my question was the same as everybody else's, so I'm going to switch it up a little bit in that, one of my experiences as being on the Board of Selectmen, I have gotten phone calls from people who are on the verge of being in the street. And it's very painful, and they'll ask, you know, can you help me with this board or this board? And, you know, of course, I can't. That's something that happens with other boards, but, you know, for this board to handle. So with all the skills that you listed, and it was really quite a few, how would you handle it when you have someone who calls you up? There's probably protocol for that, but, and try to still keep them, you know, feeling like that, you know, the town and this board is in there fighting for them as well.
Well, I think first it starts where I need to get more educated on what I can and can't do. So that doesn't mean just showing up. There's a lot more than just showing up at every meeting. And that's probably 80% of the battle, but the other, it's showing up and knowing what your role is and what you can accomplish and what you can't accomplish.
And what you can say and
Yeah.
not say. Yeah.
You know, I just get on the phone with one of you all and say, No, I think it's first understanding what I can and can't offer. Then I think it is being transparent about what I can and can't do. Then sometimes it's just you got to get your feet in the mud and do it yourself. Maybe it's I call you, Rosemary, and say, "Do you know anybody that can help this person? Brian, do you know somebody? Janice, can we? There's got to be something for this person. Can we do this or that?" And I can tell you in healthcare, that happens a lot. There's a lot that we do at our hospitals. There's a lot that even I do sometimes in my role, where I get an email from some random patient that found my email somewhere that says, "Help, I can't get, can someone help me with this?" Sometimes you just gotta, we call that a stretch project. Sometimes you just gotta take on a stretch project. So one thing I would commit to you is anyone that reaches out to me, I will do whatever I can to help them within what I'm allowed to do. And if I have to stretch outside my responsibilities to help, as long as it's proper, to help them out, I'd be happy to do that. So,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Hi, everyone. Here's my question. What motivates you to want to be a Housing Authority Commissioner, and what do you hope to contribute in this role to support affordable housing in our community?
What motivates me is, as I mentioned, sort of, I gained some new interest in this as I've been studying for my master's degree, and I learned a lot about how difficult it is for people that don't make a lot of money to live somewhere. And in some ways, I'm a good spokesman because I'm not that. I know that sounds kind of weird, but you know, I'm not a person that you would expect to be here today advocating for a position that oversees an organization that takes care of people who struggle to have housing. I'm a white guy that hasn't really been in this position before, that lives in a nice neighborhood in town, and you would maybe think that stereotypically that it would be the opposite, but I feel that it's important for everybody to sort of advocate for these roles, for these folks in town that need the assistance. But I'm passionate about everybody. You know, you hear about the situation that we're in statewide, where the lack of housing. Everybody deserves a safe place to live. Everybody deserves a place that is to raise their children, to, you know, and to be in this great state. We're lucky. I'm lucky to be in the position I'm in, and that's why I say that I'm an unlikely person, because I haven't directly benefited from it. I want folks to have the same sort of experience that I've had.
All right, we are coming up on 20 minutes in. I just want to be mindful of the time. By all means, you're happy to ask a question, and just make sure we kind of make sure we're advancing new ground. If we're going to cover the same ground, I'd like
All my major questions have been asked.
So,
stolen
by all
previous
means,
members.
ask a question if you would like.
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. All right,
And Eddie.
is okay?
Yeah.
As well.
Okay, I think we'll go ahead and probably cut it there for time. If we're okay with that?
Cool. Thanks,
Yeah,
everybody.
thank you
And,
so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your time, and I think I just conclude by saying appreciate all the work you guys do. I think it's actually great that there are two people that are interested in the position. That's a good thing. No question about it, that people want to be involved and be volunteer. So appreciate your consideration, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'm in the penalty box, right?
Yeah.
If
Okay.
you don't mind. Thank you.
And should I come back, or?
We'll come back and get you.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yes.
Stay.
Or you can stay. Actually, yes, you can
stay.
stay. Actually, you
Oh,
can
'cause
stay.
I've already-
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he's already
Yes,
answered,
yes,
he's
yeah.
already gone, so he could stay.
Yeah.
It's already locked in.
Yeah, Mr. Manzi?
No changes.
So just would remind the board that the same questions you asked Mr. Bagney should be asked to Mr. Manzi as well, and we'll take them in the same order if that's okay. All right, you're welcome to make a statement and introduce yourself if you like, please.
Sure. My name's, for those of you that don't know me, see some familiar faces, my name's Al Manzi. I live on Foster Street, lived in town almost 51 years, I guess, and along with my wife's from town, and went through North Andover schools, high school, class of 92, Merrimack, class of 96. I have 3 children, 2 in college, 1 in high school.
Wow, they're in college already.
I just sent my first off, so.
What else would you like to know?
Well, I'm going to turn it over to the board now and ask some questions, and Janice, we'll start with you again.
I will.
Sure.
So I am curious what characteristics you will bring to the group, to the authority.
Well, you know, it's an interesting question, thank you. I hope to bring my education and experience and past community service to the board. You know, the housing there's a significant need for housing. It's something that affects everybody in every community, so I was hoping, when I learned of the opening, it seemed like a unique opportunity to sort of bring my background and experience in zoning and law and construction and real estate, to learn a little bit more about how that process works too. And this commission, it's something new, something that I really haven't been involved with before. So that's what I was hoping to contribute.
Thank you.
My question is very similar. But what specific past professional or volunteering or personal experience do you think that would benefit the Housing Authority in particular? Whether it be professional or volunteering or...
Well, I've been practicing law for almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years in June. I have a concentration in real estate law. I spent a number of years here on the zoning board for the town of North Andover. I was appointed to my first committee in the basement of this building many years ago as a cable advisory committee when there were no televisions and cell phones and so forth. So, you know, I'm very much a believer in community service. I like to give back. It's something I have an affinity for. It's something that's important to me. So specifically, what aspect can I contribute? I guess I'm really not sure yet because I don't really know what the need is. But it is something that's important to me, particularly if there's going to be new projects, you know, innovative type of partnerships if you're looking to build new things and work with nonprofits, if you will. I am involved with some other charitable organizations. So, you know, I would like to think that whatever the need is, I can help fill that void.
Thank you.
You know.
Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
how are you?
So my question is, what's your past volunteer experience, and with that, what's your conflict resolution strategies? Because sometimes, obviously, there's times of disagreement.
Sure. Well, so I was 17 when I was appointed to my first committee, the Cable Advisory Committee, in the basement of this building. The record will show I was appointed 3-2. Sean Fountain, you know, told those that were dissenting that when you have a teenager that wants to be involved, you let him get involved. So from there, I went on to, you know, work on different committees in town, whether it be the 4th of July Committee or the Selectmen's Ad Hoc Committee to buy Osgood Hill. My time on zoning, there were some wireless bylaw committees and the Police Reuse Committee, and you know, there's always been a different committee because I like to serve. Conflict resolution, I'm not really sure what that strategy would be. As I get older, I can tell you I don't like conflict. So, I mean, I'm hoping there wouldn't be any.
Yeah. What about that too?
Steve? Okay. If you are appointed, I just need to know if you're going to make every effort to attend our meetings, monthly meetings.
Well, yeah, I would.
You would?
Absolutely.
All right, that's all I need to know.
mean, I certainly would make every effort to attend a meeting.
Yeah.
You know, so, and it's interesting, so, you know, towards the end of my zoning career, I was coaching, you know, the kids were younger, I was coaching baseball majors, we actually won the championship that year, and softball and basketball and so forth, but, you know, those days are sort of not there anymore, so it's a void, right, in terms of your time, and I have more time to give back for community service purposes, so, than I did years ago.
Yeah, thank you, that's what I was looking for, thanks. Yeah.
Rosemary?
I have the same question, just written a little bit differently, but I'll take a piece of it is, you know, what skills can you bring and so forth and so on. But this one is difficult because I've received the phone call for someone who's about to be homeless. And they call and they ask, is there anything you can do for me or help me with the housing authority? And my response was always, you need to just call them yourself and do whatever they tell you to do, but it's very, very difficult. How would, with your skills and your training, how would you offer to help them or do what you think would benefit them at a time when they're literally, like, practically got one foot out the door and no place to go? So,
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a great question, and, you know, obviously you try to comfort them, right? If someone's losing housing, that's traumatic, it's horrific, and there's a lot going on for that person. My understanding of the process is there is a process, and there are wait lists, and you have the state application that's, you know, a universal application now, you have the federal system, and it's a pretty long wait list. There may be certain exigent circumstances that move you around, but I would imagine that there's qualified staff that knows what they're doing and how to administer that. I have a particular case that I'm involved in right now that has a similar situation, and, you know, I've helped them make the phone calls and so forth, and with respect to my practice, not here, in a different community, but you know, it's a difficult situation, and you try to guide them as best you can within the confines of the procedures.
okay, thank you.
Marcia?
Hi, what motivates you to want to be a housing authority commissioner? And what do you have to contribute in this role to support affordable housing in our community?
Well, what was motivating to me is it was new. When I learned of the vacancy, it was sort of a unique opportunity to volunteer for consideration in an area that I really hadn't worked in before. So that was somewhat exciting because of the challenge. My understanding of the housing authority is that it's public housing, so I don't know if it's necessarily the same as affordable housing pursuant to a Chapter 40B application, but, you know, to the extent they're similar, I'm not sure. But I think it's more of a public housing application through the state or the federal government.
I think that's all for our questions. We have to keep it consistent between the two candidates. So those are all the questions that were asked
Do
previously.
I get to ask all one of you a question?
I'm not sure. You're welcome to make a statement. But we can handle the questioning for sure. So,
That's fine. Thank you for the opportunity to come in and, you know, be part of the process. I appreciate it.
appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yep. Is Adam still here? Yes, okay. Okay, we have had our interviews, and well, they're welcome to stay. Well, welcome to stay. I
Is
don't-
he supposed to leave?
No, it does not have to. We're at an open meeting. And for everyone who's here for the 7 o'clock select board meeting, we're just wrapping up our joint meeting of the Housing Authority. Right now, we should be adjourned shortly. So we've had our interviews, and at this point, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to appoint Adam Bagney to the Housing Authority to serve until the town election on March 25th, 2025, so just a few months.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay.
Two excellent candidates.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wait, how does this work?
It's all 9 together. So yeah, it's not separate votes. It's one.
It's not, it's, yeah.
Want to do a roll call?
Well, no, but do you want to explain that they can make, you can deliberate
Yeah.
Yeah.
and talk about what?
Yeah,
you know,
we
the
can-
decision-
Because I'm not sure what we're voting on. And we're voting on the motion to nominate his name?
We're voting to appoint. The motion was
Okay, so we're
to
actually going
appoint.
straight to the appointment.
Straight to the
Okay.
appointment, yes.
So we're in the
Yeah.
discussion.
We're in the discussion
Good.
phase
Thank you
now.
for clarifying.
Yep.
Clarifying.
So, I guess I didn't hear what, the beginning part.
Sorry. With the motion on the table, which was seconded, is to appoint Mr. Bagney to the open seat.
I see.
That's the motion we're
I
discussing.
understand
Yeah.
now.
We're open, so we're still open for discussion, so. there's any discussion or any further questions or deliberation that the board would like to have as a group. Okay?
So then, so now we have to
So
vote.
so now at this point, we'll vote. So all those in favor of the motion, I would ask you to raise your hands. We can get a count, since there's 9 of us. All those opposed?
All right, can we explain this to them?
Yeah?
Let me explain this though. So, the motion, and I don't mean to, I'm sorry.
By all
Mr.
means,
Chair.
we are co-chairs here.
So, yeah.
By all means.
So the motion has been made to appoint Adam, Mr. Bagney. It's been seconded. You're gonna get a yay or nay vote. If that fails, then a different motion could be made. That's all.
Yes.
I know Eddie.
Yeah,
Okay.
I get it.
Do we get it?
I get it.
I'm
I didn't
sorry.
know we were part of it, that's all.
You have to make a motion before you can discuss it.
Right.
So
Yes.
So
That's
what
why
the
the motion.
process is, there's a motion, there's
Okay.
a second, then there's a discussion, and then you vote on the motion.
I apologize for not being more clear on that, so.
So we're in the discussion.
So we're still in, is there further discussion that anyone would like to have on the motion?
So now we,
No? Okay.
Well, you know what, I'd like to say a couple of things. I mean, Mr. Bagney absolutely came here extremely well-prepared, has a diverse set of skills. And then you have Mr. Manzi, who has experiences being on a board, being a chair, and so forth and so on. It's a very difficult decision, but you absolutely came extremely well-prepared. And with that, you brought a lot of very fine skills that could be helpful to this board. So it's a tough decision, but it will all be settled in a few months later.
Well, that's true.
That's a
Yeah,
very fair
and
point.
I echo
Right.
that. I mean, I think you came incredibly well prepared. To a degree. I think you have us confused with the town committee, and we are not. We're very different, and we function quite differently, and that, I will be honest, concerns me. In particular with Rosemary's question, and he would come to you guys when he should go to the executive director. So there
No,
are-
and I would tell them that. When people would
Yeah.
call, I'd say, you
Right.
have to call and get on the list
Right,
and all
I
of
mean,
that,
I
but-
guess, yeah,
Yeah.
that's just, it's that unfortunately, public housing, whether it's state and or federal, is incredibly complicated. We're advocates, but at the end of the day, we're a policy and fiduciary board. We are not involved in day-to-day. It's actually it's like the number one, and there are state trainings or what have you. I think that your energy and I'd like to actually say, too, my first appointment to the Housing Authority, it was Survivor. There was more than 2 of us, and it actually ended up in a secret ballot at the end, because we had split boards. It is a temporary appointment. Whoever's gonna run is gonna, whoever fills the seat is going to have to run. In March, we lost Max Butterbrodt, which is unfortunate, but he's off living his best life in Seattle now, God love him. And he was a real estate attorney and those kind of things. And yeah, there is a huge learning curve. But I'm incredibly grateful that there's 2 people that have come forward, because a lot of times people, they kind of forget about the Housing Authority and our mission and what we do there. I'm also an executive director of the Newburyport and West Newbury Housing Authority, so I do it professionally too. But we take care of our most vulnerable in our community, and we're also highly regulated, unfortunately, too, which limits us. But again, I guess at the end of the day, I mean, I'm just really psyched that 2 people have come forward, and I don't know, it'll be a battle in March or not, I don't know, but, I mean, for me, I would personally like to see somebody who actually is gonna sit at the desk next month and contribute. We have a lot of things in the pipeline, so, I mean, I don't know, I'm just happy 2 people came forward.
Yeah. And I would echo those sentiments. I mean, it's great to have two qualified candidates for any volunteer positions these days.
Exactly.
You know, knowing that they're all in kind of short trips, so I would echo, a lot of Rosemary's comments and yours as well, as the experts in the field. I certainly appreciate that, so.
May I add something?
Sure, by all means, we were in discussion.
I didn't know what the heck I was doing when I got elected, and I had to learn really quick. And I feel like I do my best to contribute to the team, to the commission, and it's a very learnable role. And, in a short time frame, one, if they're really motivated, can really jump right in and kind of learn exactly what you were saying. The policy that it is a very specific lane, and I had a whole different view, and I had been warned that I thought it was this, and it was this. And I have adjusted and learned, and I feel like I contribute to the best of my ability, and I think that, for me, that is not a barrier. I would say that happens in every single position in town, right? You go in with one thought.
I'm obviously still learning, right, just tonight.
One thought about what it's gonna be, and then it's different.
To echo what other people have said, it's great that we have two qualified candidates that
Yeah.
are enthusiastic and want to serve our community, because that's what we need. We need more of that.
But you are right about the language. Government language is a language of its own, and then just the initials, like a bag meeting we had years ago, it was called a bag meeting, it was a budget meeting, and it's like, you got to get rid of that name for a budget. You can't be calling it a bag meeting. So. But no, you're right, but it comes. It comes.
Okay. Any further discussion at this point? No. And is everyone clear on what we're voting on at this time, the motion that's on the table? If anyone is not clear, please raise it now.
Can we just restate exactly what
we're doing? By all means. The motion on the table is to appoint Mr. Bagney to the open seat until March 25th, 2025. Okay. If you are in support of that motion, you vote yes. If you are opposed to that motion, you vote no.
Thanks.
Very clear?
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor? Raise your hand. Aye. That's 6. All those opposed? All right, the motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. Bagney. Thank you.
We're good, right?
I will take a final motion.
Motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
To adjourn the joint session.
Can we get the second?
All those in favor?
Thank you.